When a genius dies, what happens to their secrets? For a guy like Nikola Tesla, the answer's pretty incredible. It involves locked hotel rooms, government agents, and a weapon so powerful, the press called it the death ray. Okay, let's dive into the declassified FBI files and see what the government was so desperate to find. And hey, before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and share and like my videos. All the information we're talking about today is compiled from open sources. Thank you. So picture this. It's January 7th, 1943, room 3327 of the Hotel New Yorker. Nikola Tesla, the man who basically electrified the modern world, is found dead. But almost immediately, there's a different kind of electricity in the air, one of pure, uncut national security panic. And this is where our story really kicks into high gear. Within just a few days of his death, Tesla's life's work wasn't just being remembered, it was being confiscated. What's really wild here is just how fast this happened. This memo is dated only 5 days after Tesla died. This wasn't some casual inquiry, this was an immediate, top-level scramble. You have to remember, this is the absolute height of World War II. The government was terrified that one of Tesla's brilliant and maybe dangerous ideas could fall into the hands of the Axis power. So who are the guys who swooped in? An agency with a pretty intense name, the Office of Alien Property. Now, even though Tesla was a naturalized U.S. citizen, they used this office to seize everything, every note, every diagram, every last scrap of paper from his hotel room and his safe. His entire legacy was now officially government property. But they weren't just randomly collecting papers. Oh no. They were hunting for something legendary. And that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth could an 86-year-old inventor have in his hotel room that would trigger such a massive and immediate federal response? This is what they were looking for. Teleforce. Tesla had claimed he designed a particle beam weapon, a directed energy weapon that could literally create a defensive wall in the sky. To the newspapers, though, it had a much, much catchier name: the death ray. And this quote just shows you the scale of what he was claiming. He wasn't talking about a better mousetrap here. According to Tesla's own words, found in these very files, this thing was a total game changer, based on a whole new kind of physics. So you can see why, in the middle of a world war, the government was just a little bit interested. So the government has the papers, but were these claims for real? They needed an expert, someone who could tell them if this was groundbreaking science or just science fiction. The man for the job was a highly respected engineer and professor from MIT, John G. Trump. He was given access to all of Tesla's seized belongings with one simple but crucial mission: figure out if there was anything to this death ray business. And here's his conclusion. Trump's official report basically poured cold water on the whole thing. He called Tesla's later ideas speculative, philosophical, even promotional. But he said he found no blueprints, no workable principles, nothing that could actually be built. The official verdict was in, loud and clear. The search was over. According to the government's own expert, there was nothing to see here. Case closed. Right? Well, maybe not. Because this is where the story gets really, really strange. If there was nothing of value, this whole thing should have ended right there in 1943. But it didn't. Not by a long shot. I mean, just look at this contradiction. On one hand, the official story is, case closed, nothing to see here. But on the other hand, we have documents showing that for years afterward, various military agencies were still scrambling to find those exact same files. Why would you keep looking for something that was supposedly worthless? Check this out. This memo is from 1947. That's 4 years after Trump declared the papers had no military value. And it's the Air Force's technical command asking, hey, where are Tesla's files? It says the data might be of great value. This is a complete 180 from the official story. It's like they lost track of the very things they seized. 80. That's the estimated number of trunks and containers filled with Tesla's life's work that the government grabbed. 80 trunks. And in the years that followed, it seems like different branches of the government couldn't agree on who had them, where they were, or what was even in them. So this confusion, this huge gap between the official report and what the military was actually doing, it created a vacuum. And into that vacuum rushed decades of questions, speculation, and some pretty wild theories. This timeline really puts the chaos into perspective. In 43, they're examined. By 47, the Air Force can't even find them.
Then in 52, a huge chunk of his estate supposedly gets shipped off to a museum in Belgrade. But what was actually in that shipment? Did they hold some files back? For the next 50 years, every time someone asked the FBI about it, the story seemed to change.
And what's really fascinating is that some of the strangest theories are fueled by language found inside the declassified files themselves. We find references to anti-tank guns, notes about investigating his claims of interplanetary communication, and even a bizarre report about a group that built a Tesla-set radio hoping to receive messages from him after he died. The government's own secrecy is what let all this speculation run wild.
And so, here we are left with this huge question. Was the government's expert right, and Tesla's death ray was nothing more than a fantasy? Or did they find something? An idea, a principle, maybe just a fragment of a design so important that the real story had to be buried under decades of denials and confusion? The files might be declassified, but the mystery is far from over.